Now, for a look at some sample VMAST test items, here's Shelley Loving-Ryder, Assistant Superintendent for Student Assessment and School Improvement.
Today I'm going to be sharing with you some sample items that are representative of the items that might appear on the Virginia Modified Achievement Standard Test, or VMAST. As you have heard previously in this video, the VMAST items begin with an item that might appear on a regular Grade 8 online reading or mathematics test. Then research-based supports or simplifications that have been endorsed by Virginia teachers are added to those items to make them more accessible to the students with disabilities who might be taking VMAST. I'll begin by sharing with you some reading items, and first I will show you the original items that appeared on the Grade 8 reading test. Following that, I will show you the supported passage and the items that were developed for VMAST. Let's begin by looking at the original passage that was used for Grade 8 reading. The original Grade 8 passage is called Recycle Shoes, and it deals with using various parts of recycled tennis shoes to create athletic fields. Now let's look at the first item. This item asks the student about paragraph 2 and asks the student to identify the main idea. For students taking this particular item, they would go back to paragraph 2 and determine what the main idea was so that they could answer this question. Let's look at the second item. In this particular item, students are asked to use context clues to determine what the word components means. And you may have noticed in the passage that the word components is underlined, and students are to use context clues to determine what the meaning of the word is. The third item deals with details and asks the student to identify what the passage says the soles of sneakers are used for. Again, the student could go back to the passage, or perhaps the student would remember the detail of what the soles are used for. The last item deals with the summary of the article and asks the student to identify overall what was the article about. That's the end of what the passage and its initial items looked like. Now let's look at the items as it appeared in the VMAST version with the supports added for the students. And here's the passage again. This is the VMAST version. And what's been changed here is that some of the language has been removed. Approximately 4 sentences have been removed from this version. These are sentences that contained no information required to answer the questions, and we were able to remove these sentences without changing the reading level of the passage. So that's the change that has been made here. In addition, there's a graphic organizer that's been added for students. One characteristic of students that might use the VMAST test is that they sometimes have difficulty remembering the sequence of events. So this graphic organizer was added to help them remember the events of the story. Let's look at the first item. You'll remember from the original passage and items that this particular item deals with the main idea of paragraph 2. But you may remember in the initial item, students were directed to go back to the passage and look at this paragraph. Because one of the characteristics of this population of students is that they have difficulty with lengthy reading passages, one of the supports that's frequently added is to have the test item very close to the text that's needed to answer the item. So here we have excerpted paragraph